Melissa Gilbert was born on May 8, 1964, in Los Angeles, California, and her life began with a decision rooted in care and hope. Her biological parents, facing financial hardship, chose adoption so their daughter could grow up with stability and opportunity. She was welcomed into the home of actors Paul Gilbert and Barbara Crane just one day after her birth. Both parents were deeply involved in the arts, and Melissa grew up surrounded by scripts, rehearsals, and creative energy. Her childhood was not without challenges, as her parents later divorced and her family structure changed again through remarriage. The loss of her adoptive father at a young age left a lasting emotional mark. Raised within Jewish traditions, Melissa learned early the importance of resilience, family, and self-expression. These foundations would later shape not only her acting career, but also her understanding of relationships and identity. 2. Discovering her talent at a young age. From an early age, Melissa showed a natural comfort in front of the camera. She began appearing in commercials, learning discipline and professionalism long before most children understood what a job meant. These experiences prepared her for the competitive world of television and film. Her big opportunity arrived when she auditioned for a new series called Little House on the Prairie. More than 500 children tried out for the role of Laura Ingalls, but Melissa's warmth and sincerity stood out. She learned she had been chosen through a schoolmate, which made the moment feel even more surreal. When filming began, she was still very young, yet she carried the responsibility of a leading role with maturity. The show quickly became a cultural favorite, and Melissa grew up in front of millions of viewers, forming a bond with the audience that would last for decades. 3. Life inside a beloved television family. Working on Little House on the Prairie was both magical and demanding. The cast spent long hours together, creating a sense of family that went beyond the scripts. Melissa became closely associated with the character of Laura Ingalls, a role that represented innocence, courage, and emotional growth. While viewers saw a warm and wholesome story, the reality behind the scenes involved pressure, fatigue, and the challenges of growing up in the spotlight. Melissa learned quickly how fame could shape public expectations. She balanced schoolwork, acting, and personal development at a time when most children were focused only on play. The experience taught her discipline, but also showed her how fragile childhood could be when lived in front of cameras. Those years became the emotional core of her career and influenced the way she later reflected on friendship, loyalty, and change. 4. Expanding beyond childhood roles. After Little House, Melissa sought roles that would allow her to grow as an actress. She appeared in dramatic productions such as The Miracle Worker and The Diary of Anne Frank, taking on emotionally demanding characters that showed her depth and maturity. She also worked in feature films and television movies that explored serious themes and complex relationships. As she entered adulthood, she moved into roles that reflected real-life struggles and personal transformation. In addition to acting on screen, she found success in voice work, including portraying Batgirl in an animated series. These projects allowed her to reinvent herself beyond the image of Laura Ingalls. Her career had ups and downs, but she remained committed to storytelling. Each new role became a step toward independence and creative control, helping her define herself outside of childhood fame. 5. Returning to her roots. Through theater and writing, Melissa eventually returned to the world of Little House on the Prairie through theater, playing Carolyn Ingalls in a musical adaptation that toured nationally. This experience allowed her to reconnect with the story in a new and more personal way. Performing live on stage brought her closer to audiences and gave her a renewed sense of purpose. Around the same time, she shared her journey in her memoir, offering honest reflections on family, fame, and self-discovery. Writing gave her the chance to shape her own narrative rather than relying on public perception. She also explored reality television through Dancing with the Stars, showing both vulnerability and determination. These later chapters of her career demonstrated that growth does not stop with age. Instead, She embraced reinvention, creativity, and openness as tools for understanding both her past and her future. Love, marriage, and personal growth. Melissa Gilbert's personal life reflected the same complexity as her career. Her first marriage came during a period of transition from child star to adult woman, and it ended after several years of effort and learning. Her second marriage lasted longer and included both family life and shared professional experiences. While deeply meaningful, it also faced the challenges that come with public life and changing priorities. In her third marriage, Melissa found a sense of stability rooted in mutual respect and understanding. By this stage of life, she had gained insight into herself and what she needed from a partner. These relationships were not failures, but chapters of growth. Each one shaped her emotionally and taught her resilience. Over time, she came to value companionship, honesty, and balance more than image or expectation, allowing her to approach life with clarity and confidence. 7. Speaking honestly. About Melissa Sue Anderson. At the age of 61, Melissa Gilbert reflected openly on her relationship with her longtime co-star, Melissa Sue Anderson. She explained that their bond was real but complex, shaped by growing up together in an unusual environment of fame and pressure. While audiences imagined a perfect friendship, the reality included moments of closeness as well as distance. Gilbert acknowledged that child stardom creates emotional challenges that are hard to understand from the outside. They were not rivals or enemies, but two young people trying to navigate identity under constant attention. Over time, their paths naturally diverged as each pursued different personal and professional goals. Gilbert emphasized that there was always respect between them, even when their connection changed. Her reflections showed maturity and compassion, revealing that relationships formed in childhood are not static, but evolve with time and experience. 8. Understanding the impact of growing up famous. Melissa Gilbert used this moment in her life to explain how early fame affects relationships. Being watched constantly can magnify insecurities, misunderstandings, and emotional struggles. She noted that children in the spotlight do not always get the chance to grow privately or make mistakes quietly. Small conflicts can feel much larger when surrounded by cameras and expectations. Gilbert described how maturity brings perspective and allows her to see past misunderstandings. With age, she has learned to appreciate shared history without needing to rewrite it. Her reflections highlight the importance of compassion toward one's younger self and toward others who lived through similar circumstances. Rather than focusing on differences, she now sees the value in what they experienced together. This honesty resonated with fans who grew up watching the show and now understand the human cost behind its wholesome image. 9. Respect, gratitude, and emotional clarity. Throughout her reflections, Gilbert expressed deep respect for Melissa Sue Anderson's talent and professionalism. She credited her co-star with teaching her patience and quiet strength during difficult moments on set. The sense of family among the cast was real, even if it included challenges. Gilbert acknowledged that long hours and public attention could strain even the strongest bonds. However, she also recognized that these shared experiences created lifelong understanding. Her words were not about conflict, but about truth and emotional clarity. By speaking openly, she hoped to honor their shared past, rather than distort it. She showed that appreciation does not require perfect harmony, only honesty and empathy. This perspective reflects a woman who has grown comfortable with complexity and understands that meaningful relationships can exist even when they change form over time. 10. A legacy of reflection and humanity. Melissa Gilbert's story is ultimately one of growth, resilience, and emotional honesty. Her willingness to speak about her relationship with Melissa Sue Anderson is not about revealing secrets, but about acknowledging reality. Childhood friendships formed under fame are rarely simple, yet they remain deeply significant. Gilbert's reflections remind audiences that public images often hide private struggles and personal evolution. By sharing her truth, she honors both herself and those who walked beside her during formative years. Her life today reflects the lessons she has learned about compassion, self-awareness, and forgiveness. Fans now see not just the child star they once adored, but a woman who has gained wisdom through experience. Her message is clear. Relationships change, but shared history remains meaningful. In telling her story, Melissa Gilbert offers a powerful reminder that growth comes from understanding, not denial, and that honesty can be an act of respect.